Hello, welcome back to Dynamic English. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a complication here with the computer, but I think we're okay. All right, so welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about prepositions of place. Prepositions are really commonly used words. And they're very complicated sometimes for Spanish speakers who are learning English. So, today we're going to specifically focus on the prepositions of place. Last week we had a class about the prepositions of time. So if you missed that, you're going to want to make sure you go back and watch that. So today specifically about place, prepositions of place. We will get started. But before we get started, I just want to, first of all, thank you for watching the class today. I know in many parts of the world, today is a holiday, the International Workers' Day, if you will, or Labor Day. In the United States, it's a bit different. They celebrate on a different day. But, so happy holiday, everyone, and thanks for being here. I hope today we can give you some advice and maybe teach you a few things. So when we talk about prepositions, I know they're usually small words, sometimes only 2 letters, but they're very important, especially with place. If you say that someone is on the supermarket as opposed to in the supermarket, then I would imagine that they are on the roof or in el techo of the supermarket. No. So we want to make sure that we're using these prepositions correctly. Some of you may be wondering what I have in this box, why there's a box in front of me. You will see. There's a very special friend in the box today. It's not alive, so don't worry. But I'm going to use a friend of all of ours to show you some examples of how we're going to use certain prepositions in certain situations. So I want to first of all focus on the preposition in. Okay, the preposition in. I'm sorry. I have my phone vibrating. Please stop. My notes are on my phone and on my tablet. So here we go. We're gonna focus on the preposition in, and what I really want you to think about with the preposition in, is inside of something. Okay, enclosed, encerrado in Spanish. So when we're inside a room, we are in. So just think inside, adentro de, in Spanish. So right now I am in my living room, broadcasting to you, teaching you. I live in Santiago, okay? So I know this is not in an enclosed space if I refer to the city, but I'm adentro de Santiago. So I live in Santiago. If we see something that's contained in a book, right? It's not on the wall, it's not afuera, it's in the book. It's adentro de. We also use the in for in a car, right? I get this question a lot as to why is it in a car, on a plane, on a train, on a boat. So stay tuned, I'm going to explain that. But anytime we're inside of the store, inside of the mall, hopefully right now all of you are in your home because you are inside your home. So really that's the use of in. I'm going to give you some other examples. So remember that when it's contained inside, so that means in a bottle, okay? Maybe Christina Aguilera, genie in a bottle. When we talk about cities, yeah, I live in Santiago, maybe you live in Buenos Aires, but you're inside that city. As well, in my stomach, Okay, so your stomach even is an enclosed space. So when something is there, it's in your stomach. You're in a house, you might find something in a bag, right? Also physical locations. So in a pub, in the supermarket, in the hospital, in the, I don't know, in the kitchen. You're going to use in when you're inside something. So let's just be clear about that. Also a wide, flat area. I know that might sound strange, but when you're in a country as well, it's a big area. I'm in Chile right now, speaking to you. So I hope that's maybe clear on in. Think of it as maybe inside, when the physical thing is inside. The next one that we're going to focus on is at. Okay, so I've used a few examples already, but at is used to show an exact location or position or a particular place. So I can say at the entrance or at the door because that's a specific place. My door is right there, at the door. Or I can say something like an event, okay? At the birthday party, at the graduation. Sorry to those of you who won't have a graduation ceremony this year, but we would use at. So that's an event, a specific place, specific position. If you maybe work in a restaurant or worked in a restaurant, in English, I used to be a waiter, so I know, you would say at table 41, at table 15. Because those are specific points, okay? So at. And a place where you do something typical. So at the movies, at work, at university. Those are typical places. They're specific points as well. So we're going to want to make sure that we use at, right? Not in. In university. So if we're referring to what we're doing now, use at. The next one is on, and I know these are the three most common. We're going to cover more with some help from the friend here. But on, if you think about on, we need to think about it as encima, maybe in Spanish, as well as like maybe even pegado. So if I put something on my wall, then it means that it's attached. I attached it to my wall, okay? Let's see, I see a question coming in. Guillermo Taya. See you at the cinema, for instance. Yes, at the cinema. The cinema is a specific location, specific point. But let's get back to on. Attached. So yeah, if it's something attached or pegado to something, then it would be on. We use it as well. For example, if something is located on the river, I don't want you to think about that as encima del río, on the river, no, or flotando el río, no. It would mean next to or along the river. This often confuses people if you say it's on the river, they say, how? The restaurant is on the river. No, it's next to, which you can also say, which is another preposition of place, but it's sometimes used in that sense. It's used most commonly on to indicate the location or the contact between an object and a surface. So, for example, this marker is on the box. They're making contact, right? So it's on the box. Let's see. We indicate what floor of a building, for example. I live on the 9th floor of my building. The office is on the 6th floor of our building here at Dynamic English. But we would say on. It's a specific location for a floor. Let's see, there's a couple of other examples used for showing some methods of traveling. So I mentioned this earlier, on a bus, on a plane, on a boat. And then also with anything that we see basically on a screen or that we hear. Okay, so you are watching this on YouTube right now. That's electronic. We're going to say on the radio, right? Very popular song, on the radio. So if you need to remember it that way by singing that song, then go for it. But on the television, on the screen, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, yeah, any of those, and on the radio. So those are the three most common, okay, in, at, and on. And they're the ones that usually confuse people the most. So I don't know if you have any questions, and keep in mind we're on a 30-second delay. But if there's any questions about in, at, on, I would be happy to answer them before we move on and reveal what's in the box or who is in the box. So let's just take just a brief moment and let's see if anybody has any questions. Meanwhile, I'll just recap. In. When you're enclosed in a certain space or a large flat area. I live in Santiago. I am in my living room. You get in a car. Okay. At, it's for a specific place, a specific location, events, particular place, or some of those general places, at the cinema, at the university, at work. Move on. Move on is a phrasal verb. Good, Esteban Nunez. Move on is a phrasal verb that indicates continuar, to move on, to continue. And really quick, on, remember if it's something pegado or attached on the wall. Don't be confused if I say it's on the beach, on the river, not necessarily encima de, but maybe next to. Like I showed with the marker on the box, when two surfaces make contact with each other, floors in a building or in a house. My apartment, for example, on the 9th floor, used for showing the methods of traveling, like I said, on a plane, on a train, on a boat, and television, radio, screen, on the internet. So, now to answer a question that I get all the time is, why is it that we are in a car, but we are on a plane, on a train, on a boat? And I'm going to tell you. The general rule is that when we're using on with transportation, okay, it means that it's the space is big enough, such as a train or an airplane or a boat, that we can stand and walk around. You cannot stand up and walk around in a car. Therefore, we're in a car or in a truck. But you're on the bus, you're on the boat, on the plane, on the ship. So anything that is transportation, but that you can freely walk around, we're going to use on. So remember that. I see questions. Move on. Yeah, move on. Continua. Question. It's a question. They're not telling me, I don't think. Eric Vargas. At is the specific place. Yes. A specific place. If we're saying at the door, at the window, at the supermarket, at the hospital. And so any specific place. One note I want to say about hospital, okay, and this is just an observation. It's very important if you are visiting, okay, if you are visiting someone, then you are at the hospital. And it's very important because if I receive a text message and my friend says, I am at the hospital, I will say, who are you visiting? What happened? But if they send me a message that says they are in the hospital, that's going to take on the significance that they are the patient, that they are in something happened to them. So if you're at the hospital, you're visiting, okay? If you're in the hospital, yeah. So be aware of that. All right. So Guillermo Tyler says on Monday. So Monday is going to be the preposition on. You're correct. It's on Monday. That's a specific date. But that's going to be a preposition of time. If you go back to our live video from last week, right here on this channel, you're going to see the video about prepositions of time. Today, all about place. So, without further ado, I want to introduce a friend, hopefully a friend of all of ours. Maybe I'm the only one that had one. I don't think so. But you all know him. He's legendary. He's famous. He's Mr. Potato Head. So, you might be thinking I'm crazy, and I am. But I wanted to use this guy to show you some examples of place today. So maybe make it a little bit more interesting. It's a Friday. It's a holiday. Why not? Let's play with some toys. So, Mr. Potato Head, he says hi. Hi, guys. We are going to, I'm going to, he's not alive. I'm going to show you some examples of how we use some of these prepositions using this box and Mr. Potato Head. Okay? So keep in mind, these are all about prepositions of place. And these apply to any object. Okay? So this is not only small objects, this is large objects too. So if we're talking about the physical location of things, place. So I'm just looking over my notes here. One of the probably most commonly misunderstood prepositions of place is by, because many Spanish speakers see the word by, by, and they think, por, yeah. But as a preposition of place, it is used as maybe next to or al lado. So, in this situation, Mr. Potato Head is now by, next to, beside. So notice I used 3 different prepositions. They're all synonyms. He is by the box, he is next to the box, he is beside the box. So don't be confused there, okay? I hope that's clear. So, al lado de, okay? So that's the translation. But remember, by, next to, or beside. We can also say near, but that would be cerca. So if I moved him a little bit, I would say near. He's cerca, or close to. Okay, again, all prepositions. So, yeah, we understand that? Excellent. Now, let's say that this and this. I hope everybody can see that. I'm on a delay, but I think you should be able to. So, now I would say that Mr. Potato Head is between the boxes, okay? So, into the space which separates 2 places is between. So, right now, he is between, yeah? Entre, in Spanish. Let's close our box back up. Oh, and now you can't see him. Oh, maybe you see his cap. Let's take his cap off. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. So now he is behind the box. Behind. Okay? This word is also used for trasero or poto. You're behind. So if you need to remember, atrás de, behind. He is behind. So it's at the back of. That's literally the meaning of behind. So let's say that Mr. Potato Head has some mad parkour skills, and he's going to jump. Now he is in front of the box. All right? So in front of means further forward than someone or something. All right? So even if you're in line, maybe at the supermarket, and hopefully maintaining the distance that you need to, you are in front of the person behind you. All right? We don't just say front. We use the entire phrase there, in front of. So be aware of that. Let's see. If I place, here, we'll use this. So you see I have a table here, but if I place Mr. Potato Head here, he disappears, okay? So now he is under the table. Under is going to take on the significance of lower than or covered by something else, okay? So he is under the table currently, right? When you go to bed and you pull your sheets over, you are under your sheets. You are under your blanket, all right? So under. Maybe, I don't know, the dog is under the chair. Yeah. So there's a difference here between under and below, all right? So I'm going to use the lid of this box to indicate below. So now, if I place our beloved Mr. Potato Head here, I'm going to see that he is below the lid of the box, all right? Below just takes on the significance, as I said, of lower than something else, okay? So in this case, his altura or altitude is lower or below the lid, okay? Excellent. So I hope we all understand how we're using these. I see some questions, Sabrina, what about between and among? I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. So good question, Sabrina. Stay tuned, and we'll get there. Between, in the middle of. Yeah, in the middle of, yeah, you can say that. In the previous example, yeah, Mr. Potato Head was in the middle of two boxes. But if we're really focusing on his location, he was between them. Typically, we're going to use in the middle of with maybe a situation between people. So if two of my friends are arguing, I say, I don't want to get in the middle of it. Like, no, ciao. But yeah, I don't want to get between it. Similar uses, but different. But yeah, good question. So we're gonna put Mr. Potato Head back here. Let's see. Okay. So now we're gonna talk about. So I hope it's clear the difference between under and below, right? I don't know if I made that clear, but under the table, under your sheets, but just below something else. Typically not making contact with the object above. So we're going to talk about that as well. Before we get to above, I want to focus on over and above because, again, they're used very similarly. Okay, boomer. Oh, I'm not that old. Come on now. Let's over. Over is going to take on a few different meanings. Above or higher than something else. Sometimes so that something covers. Okay. So the example I would use would maybe be an umbrella. Okay. If it's raining, your umbrella is going to be over your head. Okay. There's no contact between your head and the umbrella, but it covers you. Hopefully, if it's a good umbrella. If we say something maybe more than, yeah, más que, you can say you're over. Okay, so I am over 30. So I'm not a boomer. Whoever, Alberto Ramirez, watch yourself there. Over, we're going to say if it's above. So over 30, over 20. You might see this in your bank account, overdraft. It means too much. Yeah, more than. We also can use over to mean across. Across from one side to another. Okay, we crossed over the bridge. We crossed over the river. All right. So if you're going from one point to another via something, usually a bridge, you can say over as well. And not a preposition of place, but if we say over to overcome, or maybe an obstacle, so even a personal obstacle, or she jumped, or maybe he jumped over the box. Okay, see that? Over. They didn't come in contact, but he at one point was higher than the box. Now I want to show you what above is. I see a question. Dia Perez. Over es encima. The tree is over me. This is correct. Yeah. If you are under the tree, then absolutely, the tree would be over you. But the tree could also be above you. Usually the only thing that distinguishes over and above is that when I placed Mr. Potato Head here, he was justo, like right in line with the box. But if I just place him here, a little pulled back here, he's higher than something else, but he's not directly over it. Okay? So this would be over it. Yeah? And be aware that phrase is also used to say, like, I'm over it. Yeah? Like, chato. Phrasal verb, over it. But in this case, preposition of place. So right now he is over the box. Now he is just above the box. So the light is above my head because it's not directly in line with me. It's there. Yeah? It's just above. So above. Higher than something else, but not directly over it. We understand that? I think we're good. Let's see. Okay, no more questions so far? Good. All right. So the next preposition of place that I want to talk about is across. All right. Across literally is from one side to the other. So notice I just used over and I said from one side to the other. But I'm going to use over if I use something like a bridge. We went over the river. Okay. Across, I don't necessarily have to use a bridge. We could be swimming across the river. So from one side to the other of something with clear limits, getting to the other side. She walked across the field. Okay. I walked across the road. I don't know, maybe sometime you took a cruise and you sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. So clear points from one to the other, whether it's transportation, walking, doesn't matter, swimming. You can swim across the English Channel. People have done that. Crazy. So across, okay, from one point to the next. This next one is pretty confusing for a lot of people, and that's through. 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 Because similarly to across, it's from one end or side of something to the other. Okay? So if you're thinking about through, I want you to think about maybe a tunnel. Okay? You go through the tunnel. We would not go across a tunnel because we're literally passing from one end or one side of something to the other. So maybe if you have a clear area and then you have forest and then you have clear area and you pass the forest, you would go through the forest. There's a clear mark, an end or a starting point, and a clear ending point. So, through. And make sure you're pronouncing that word as through. I sometimes give students reading articles and they say through. So we go through the tunnel. Think about that. T and T. Through the tunnel. To. The next one we're gonna say is to. And that basically means in the direction of. Okay? Or any destination. We use to as well for destinations. Spell out. Okay, I think when you say spell out, you mean through. THROUGH. I have a board here. I think this will be, you'll be able to read this correctly. I'm not sure. Yeah, you should be able to. But this is pronounced through. And that's going to mean, as I said, from one end or side of something to the other. So through the tunnel. Yeah, good question. I think that's the word you're asking. Yeah, that looks correct. Okay, the next one is to. So as I said before, to we're going to use for specific destinations, specific countries, specific cities, or in the direction of. Okay. So you'll notice in English a lot, you might hear people say, I'm going to the supermarket. I'm going to church. I'm going to, I don't know, the cinema. Really now in today's society, it's you can go to the supermarket and that's all. I hope that's all anybody is doing. We hope everyone is staying home and staying safe. So to is not really that complicated, but notice it's nothing to do with the infinitive verb there. It is technically a preposition to indicate direction. I went to Argentina last year. Hope to go back soon. The next one, and this is one that confuses a lot of people, so I'm going to try and clarify. I get asked a lot, what is the difference between in and into? So, our friend is back. Okay, ciao, Mr. Potato Head. We'll see you soon. Ciao. Okay, so, Mr. Potato Head is now in the box. Yeah? You just saw me put him in there. He's in the box. Okay. Now, if I want to indicate the motion of putting him there, and I know it's my hand, but let's just imagine, Mr. Potato Head jumped into the box. So we're going to use into towards the middle of something and about to be contained, surrounded, or enclosed by it. So I know that's kind of a mouthful. But towards, okay, towards, I'll explain that, in the direction of, towards the inside or middle of something to be contained, surrounded, or enclosed. So Mr. Potato Head jumped into the box. Now he is in the box. Is that clear? So I hope you understand into as indicating motion. Okay? All right. So I just mentioned the preposition towards. And some people might want me to spell that one out as well. I know that one's a sometimes difficult one, so I'll just go ahead and save you the trouble of asking. Towards. So again, towards is in the direction of, or closer to someone or something. So this is the word I'm saying, and that's towards. The correct pronunciation, towards. Okay? So, as I said before, in the direction of, or closer to something or someone. So, just bear with me here. Mr. Potato Head is walking towards the box. Okay? His direction is making a beeline for the box. So, towards. Okay? The opposite of towards, does anybody know what that would be? So the opposite would be away from. He is walking away from the box. So again, towards. Indicating movement. The next one that we're going to talk about is on to. On to. All right? On to also confuses a lot of people, but just like I mentioned just previously with into, it indicates the motion. Okay? So on to is used to show movement into or on a particular place. So in this case, Mr. Potato Head jumped onto the box. So on to indicate the motion and his location, but now he is on the box because he is in contact. Now he is over the box. Now he is above the box. Yeah. And another example, this one confuses a lot of people as well, is from. So from is going to be desde for the most part. That's how a lot of Spanish speakers translate it. But we use to show the place where someone or something starts. Okay. If we talk about going to the supermarket, because that's really the only place I ever go, is I go from my apartment to the supermarket. So notice I use both prepositions from and to. Those can also be used for prepositions of time, from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., for example, or from one specific place to another. So, yes, okay, I see. Yeah, it was through. So there's a few others. So those are the main examples. Those are the main prepositions of place. So again, I'll go back over these. In, at, on, by, next to, beside, same thing. Between, remember. Behind, in front of, under, below, over, above, across, through, to, into, remember, inside, into, towards, in the direction of, onto, and from. So those are the main prepositions of place that we have. There are a few others that I kind of want to focus on because I hear commonly mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes I hear people say, and it's it's with before and after. I understand why Spanish speakers make this because antes is before, and it starts with an A. After, also starts with an A. But you can try to remember that antes is before, and after is después. Because I hear that mistake a lot. Someone asked earlier, and I think I still see the question about among. Where was the question? Yeah, Sabrina Mura. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Moreski. I don't know. What about between and among? So, really good question. Among, in the Spanish translation, we would say como entre. But it's typically we use among in a group. So when quarantine and hopefully this whole pandemic calms soon and we can meet our friends, but if you're in a group of people, then you are among people. So between is a specific place, you have Mr. Potato Head, he is between the markers, right? They surround, He is between these markers. But if I had a bunch of markers, he would just be among them, right? So among is a much wider area, much bigger, I think more general, I would say. But really good question. Keep those questions coming, guys. I want to make sure to answer any questions and help today. Buenas tardes. Esta clase queda guardada. No puedo entrar. Yeah. Yes. Good question, Oscarina Hernandez. But yes, this class from the beginning, and forgive me if the beginning I was like, what is going on? Computer issues. But I think it was recording. So this class will be available for forever here on this YouTube channel. So you might have to click we have a video section, and then maybe there's a live video section. So go to that, and you'll be able to see it there. Okay, so I just want to cover a few more prepositions of place, and then I see we've got a little bit of time, so I can definitely still answer some of your questions. Let's see. I showed you behind, so that's atrás de, below, beside. So again, beside, next to, between, by. Close to. One that I want to just clarify, is if you are still saying near to, make sure that we're canceling that out. We have a lot of ways to say al lado de, beside, next to, close to, or just near, right? I hear oftentimes people say near to. No, the supermarket is near to my house. No, it's just near your house. Okay, so make sure that we're not saying near to. We can say close to, and we can say next to, but not near to. Okay, let's see. Off. Okay, so I know I mentioned on to. You could clearly say to Mr. Potato Head jumped on the box, and he jumped off the box. Okay, another one is opposite, which is opuesto. So Mr. Potato Head is on the opposite side of the table from the box. Okay, opposite. Let's see, I don't know. We've gone through round. Round is another good example. Anytime you circle something, so you can go round on an amusement park ride, yeah. You can go round a cul-de-sac or a rotunda. What do we call a rotunda in English? I don't know. A roundabout, sorry. You can, if you're in your car, you go round, a roundabout or a rotunda. If you, for example, I can't wait to do this again, but if you and your friends are sitting at a campfire and there's people on all sides, then you are round. You're sitting round the campfire. Let's see. There's just a few more that I wanted to cover. Out of is another one. And again, that's going to indicate movement. So Mr. Potato Head jumped out of the box. The cat jumped out of the window. Again, indicating the movement there. Let's see. Man, I don't know. I think we've covered most all of the good. We have up, down. I mean, that's arriba, abajo. Those aren't really that difficult to understand. So if there's any questions, we have about 15 minutes, so I'm going to open it up to some questions and start seeing. Can you explain again? Below and above. Yeah, so below, okay, below just is going to mean that we have an object, in this case Mr. Potato Head, who is at a lower position than the lid, in this case. So he is below the lid. So if I place him just here, he would be over the lid because he's in the same space, pretty much. And if I bring him back here, then he's going to be above. So think of over as como justo encima de, but not having contact, like right over something. And above just means above. The clouds are above my head. They're everywhere. It's above, right? But if the light, if I move a little bit, yeah, no, it's over my head because it's in the same general area. Maybe think about it that way. Muchas gracias, me encanta la clase. Thank you, Oscarina Hernandez. And thank you all. I mean, I see we got about 30 people, and hopefully some of you later can watch this class because it will be on the YouTube channel forever. You can study your prepositions of place with me and this guy. Yeah. Let's see. It's not clear for my. Eugenia Juarez. I'm not sure what you're asking there. It's not clear for my. For my what? My. Can I use closed? Closed. Let's be careful. Eric Vargas. So make sure that we're not confusing the two words because they are the same word. We have in English the word close, cerrar, and then we have the word close. So notice the pronunciation different there. Cerrar, I pronounce that final S as a Z sound. Close, right? The store closed early. I'm going to close the book. But if we're talking about the preposition of place, close. S sound at the end. And I know it's the same exact word written. But pronunciation, no. So if you're using it as a verb, you're never going to put to. But if you're using it as a preposition, close with S sound, yeah, close to is cerca. Yeah, so, but good question, but make sure we're not confusing close and close. Yeah, excellent. All right, I see we've got about 10 minutes. If there's any other questions, anything you don't understand, I know this is, prepositions are kind of too, yeah. Can you explain about to be into? Okay, to be. Okay, so I showed earlier that into as a preposition is used to indicate motion. Mr. Potato Head jumped into the box. Okay, so now he's in the box. But what you're saying there, Ben and Hina, I don't know how to pronounce that. What you're saying there, to be into, means, and that's sort of a phrasal verb. It's a phrasal expression that we have. It means you're interested in something. To be into something is typically used in American English as you're interested. I used to be into collecting Pez dispensers. Yeah, you know Pez, when I was a little kid. Yeah, I had a lot, like thousands. So I used to be into that, but now not so much. I don't, yeah. So typically it just means to be interested in something. To be into. Let's see, any other questions? No, I'm not seeing any other questions. Any pronunciation of any of the prepositions that I covered here, or any spelling questions? I know some of these, like through and towards, I know sometimes I spelled them earlier, but if there's anything that anybody has, I really don't know how much I can explain. Unless you just want to watch me play with the Mr. Potato Head. So please, guys, if you're watching, ask the questions. We got about 8 minutes. I'm here. Might as well use the opportunity. Yeah. If not, we will end the class. I don't know. You guys tell me. We're good? Everybody understand? And I know we're on a delay, so I'm gonna give it just a second. So yeah, in the meantime, if you do have any questions, I highly recommend that you that you write to us or follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram account where we post daily tutorials. Sometimes it's vocabulary, sometimes it's grammar, sometimes it's prepositions of place or time. So be sure to check that out. We also do a class one time per week live on Instagram. During this entire pandemic that we are currently in, we will be broadcasting from our home, doing a live once a week on YouTube and once a week on Instagram to try and make sure that you are continuing to practice English and give you the opportunity while you're all at home and staying safe to practice your English. We are also offering all of our classes right now during this time online. So if you're interested and you're at home and you've got a lot more free time than you did before, having to commute, then definitely take advantage of this time that you have being at home, because we have more than 70 professors, I think, that we can offer you classes online, personalized to you on many different platforms. Zoom, WhatsApp, Blue Jeans, Google Teams, Hangouts, Skype, FaceTime, you name it. Whatever you feel most comfortable with, we can get you a professor or a teacher that can help you learn more English. So really, I don't see any more questions coming in. I see some thank yous. You're very welcome. Thank you all. I hope you've enjoyed today's class and enjoyed this guy. Never lose your sense of childness. Yeah, this really is mine, and I do sometimes change his look. So to sign out, let's change Mr. Potato Head's look to show how much you all mean to us for watching our video. Be sure to recommend this to your friends, to your grandmother, to your mom. So here we are. Oh, look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. Yeah? So from all of us here at Dynamic English, myself especially, I hope that all of you are staying safe, that you're staying home, that you are following the guidelines that your local government gives you. I know each country is different right now. Some countries are going really high, some countries are coming down, which is good. So whatever you have to do in your region, we have to all do our part. So remember that, stay home, stay safe. And I highly recommend, watch this video again. And if you have any questions, like I said, contact us, we're here. So from all of us at Dynamic English, a very happy May 1st, a very happy Dia de los Trabajadores, International Labor Day. I hope everybody has a really good weekend and that you can take some time to study some English and relax. So until next time, see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.